Boom, monkeys, and we are live. Welcome back to the Crypto Boogie channel. We got a couple of things to cover for you cats. Got some data on incentive token. We've got some data on Hedron, believe it or not. We've got some data on Pulse Chain, FTM, HEX, and of course, ton monkeys. A couple things to cover today. We're also going to hit up the fragrance of the day, which I think is going to be off the chain. A lot of you cats are going to like this, especially you dudes up in the hotter areas. I'm assuming you guys from Southern California or guys even in Arizona or Texas are going to love this. This would also apply to dudes in Mexico and in Miami. Not so much in the upper northern areas, like New York and stuff like that, because those areas tend to be a little bit colder. Now, as you guys can see, I got a new rifle in the back. I know it's a little bit freaking faded. It's none other than SKS. And I've got this sucker with the stripper clip. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. This is classic, son. This is total classic fucking weaponry, man. Freaking, and it's running that old school 7.62x3.9 on a motherfucking stripper clip. You know what I'm saying? So, fastest way to load up this rifle over here, believe it or not, is with a freaking stripper clip. Put the sucker back on there. I think it looks beautiful on there. Putting that sucker. Of course, I can't carry the rifle. And it's still rocking that rocking that 3-lug bayonet, which is pretty gangster. Now, if you cats know anything about freaking bayonets, the reason the Chinese made the bayonets the way they did as 3 blade sides, it's more difficult for a surgeon to go ahead and freaking suture you up if you get hit with a bayonet. Of course, I know you cats ain't going to be using no damn bayonet unless freaking shit really hits the fan and we got a zombie apocalypse happening, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, this is one fun rifle to shoot, man, and that's none other than the SKS. You can probably get those suckers for about $500 on Gunbroker, give or take. They're still kind of affordable. I remember when I was a little boy, my dad would get them for about, what, $75? And they had like a real sweet smell to them because they were full of this wax that would come from freaking Eastern Europe, and it's called cosmoline. I've even seen memes where people freaking rub up cosmoline on their freaking cheeks because it smells so freaking sweet. You might even end up using it as a fragrance. Hey, official Crypto Boogie fragrance, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll link up with the Red Pill Lions and I'll make a cosmoline-based fragrance. I think that'd be pretty damn gangster. But then again, people would tell me, Boogie, you would come up with something like that, if anything, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and acknowledge the people in the chat. None other than my good friend Nellyville. ¿Qué dice, hermano? ¿Qué pasó? And then we got Christopher Hernandez. ¿Qué onda, Boogie? ¿Qué pasó, Christopher? ¿Qué dice? Puro East Los aquí, compa. Puro East Los. And then none other than my homie, freaking Twinkie, Angry Twinkie. I want you guys to do me a favor. Go ahead and freaking follow this cat here on YouTube because he's going to launch a freaking YouTube channel. And follow him on freaking Twitter. I think he's got an Instagram. Quote me on that. I think it's mostly just freaking Twitter and YouTube. So now, of course, we cannot move forward without hitting up the memes. And again, as stated, as being redundant, we're not going to be completely boring here. We're also going to talk about the fragrance of the day. I know you cats are freaking excited about that. Nellyville, I know you're going to love that shit. And I know you're going to love it, dog. So let's go over to the meme, son. And I was talking to my homie Twinkie, and I was like, dude, this so reminds me of you, dog. This so reminds me of you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this is what corporate America is like.
What's your salary expectation? What's your budget? We don't have a budget. What's the market rate? A little down at the moment. I believe I bring a lot to the table. Possibly, but it's a pretty standard role. I'd like to get back to you on this. Well, we'd much rather have an initial number. What's your current salary? Can't say. Sign an NDA.
that was fucking dope, bro. That was fucking dope. Maybe it may not have been the funniest thing in the fucking world, bro, but I thought that shit was dope as hell, man. I shared that with my homie Twinkie, and I was telling him, bro, this reminds me of you, bro. This straight up reminds me of you. Now we got one more video for you cats. This is not a meme, but this is a wow thing, bro. Like really wow, bro. Now I know I got a lot of you Latinos in here, and majority of you cats are from either the south side of the United States or the west side. Now California is pretty bad with their gun laws, mind you. You may be able to own one of these. I think you'll be fine in Cali with one of these, and these are gangster ass freaking rifles. A lot of fun, man. But in New York, on the other hand, man, talk about some communist shit, dog. And let me show you what I mean. This shit is wild, bro. They're fucking implementing some medieval taxation shit. Let me show you what I mean by that. This shit is wild to me, son. I would be out of freaking New York with the quickness, dog. Look at this shit. New York City is the first city to charge $15 to $23 a day to enter in traffic zones. Daily rate to drive in New York City, passenger vehicles, $15, trucks, $24 to $36, and motorcycles, $7.50 a day, son. Now, a passenger vehicle, that just means your regular coupe, your regular car, not a pickup, if anything. But let's watch this sucker. This shit is wild, homie. And these politicians are even happy about this. This shit is wild, bro.
New York City will be the first city in America to charge Americans just to go to work in the morning.
Very first state in the nation, the very first city in America to have a congestion pricing plan.
Americans will have to pay around $23 per day.
Passenger vehicles would be charged $15 to enter the congestion zone, trucks between $24 and $36 depending on size, and motorcycles $7.50. Those tolls would be charged once per day and would be in effect between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on weekends.
So it begins. New York City will be the first.
Shit, cats. You believe that shit, man? Well, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't surprise you. It is freaking New York. That is freaking wild, dog. Now, if you guys know anything about history, man, in the medieval times, if you lived in a village or you lived in a small town and you decided to go into the freaking forest to go hunt or gather some wood, there would be somebody that would end up freaking taxing you, or some of the soldiers or some of the queen's men. They'd be out there and they would end up documenting that you would leave the town and you would come back to the town, so they can go ahead and tax you daily as per what you do. That is freaking wild, homie. That is some medieval fucking shit. And did you see how that freaking governor, I think she was a governor, I don't know too much about New York politics, but dude, did you see that governor lady, man? She was so excited and happy about this Mickey Mouse shit. I guarantee you're probably going to get more cats freaking rollerblading or skateboarding, possibly even riding a bike to work. But it wouldn't surprise me that there's citations for that, because last I heard, my homie came back from New York and this cat got a citation for texting and walking, son. You believe that shit? That is wild, homie. That is wild, bro. So that's some medieval shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. That is freaking wild. Let's check out the freaking let's check out here the chats and shit. And it says I generally avoid the area, never like New York State. NYC upstate is nice. Yeah, homie. And you thought Cali was bad, bro. You thought Cali was bad, dog. You know what I'm saying? That is fucking wild, homie. I hope you cats in freaking Cali don't end up getting that shit, man. It wouldn't surprise me, though, man. You got some pretty damn leftist politicians up over there in Cali. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's pretty freaking ballistic, if anything, dude. Let's go ahead and go into the Bitcoin chart. And then we'll hit up like about 2 charts, and then we'll go to the fragrance of the day. So let's hit up BTC. Unless you cats want to do something first. Nah, let's do some BTC, man. Let's do some BTC. We'll see what's going on with this shit, and then we'll move on to Phantom, because Phantom did something a little bit interesting for you cats. This is currently the Bitcoin chart. We're at about $42,526. I was at the gym earlier today, and I was doing some. I hit the bag a lot. I do a lot of jump rope and shit like that. And I was listening to Charlie, man, and of course, I mean, you can only get so much data, man, when you're listening to freaking your phone with your earpods and shit. And he was talking, he drew something up like this. Of course, I don't want to copy him exactly, and I don't want to use that as my technical analysis today, but just to be redundant as per what Charlie said, he said he drew up this spot as resistance for the high we recently got on December 8th. And then I think his low, his immediate low, was this candle over here, if you cats can see it. Now, let me tell you the value points of these candles for you guys that are listening and driving. And Tex-Mex, I know you freaking driving. You're the hardest working freaking trucker in America. But the high point over here would be 44,885. And then the low point would be over here at about 40,365. And he drew these up because these were areas that he was looking at to entail which way Bitcoin's going to go. Of course, I didn't really finish listening to the whole stream. I'm expecting that we're going to continue rallying. Maybe we'll come down here to an area of about 41,000 as we come to the downside before we continue rallying up. Now, I know you guys know that I love drawing freaking ascending and descending triangles, but that's basically what we're getting here. Let me go and grab this tool right here. If you pull this sucker up over here this way, and you get this ascending triangle that's starting to develop. Of course, this one's red. Let me paint it green for the sake of understanding so you cats know what I'm talking about. Painting the sucker green, and that is pretty much an ascending triangle, and entails we'll go to the upside. I do think we'll end up breaking this recent area of support that we had at about 44,885, and I think we'll continue rallying to the upside, if anything. We are currently on day 45 of the 60-day cycle. And day 60 is none other than January 13th. I say that we'll probably get a Bitcoin approval for the ETF around, I'd say around January 5th or 6th, before the 10th comes around. That's just my rough estimation. That's what I have in my gut. I've got no data on that, but I know for sure the 10th is a deadline for these cats to go ahead and approve it. So if we put that around January 6th, January 5th, that would be around day 52 or day 53 before we start rallying. Now, the next area of resistance that I do have is here at about 48,362. And then above that, I do have 52,218. Now, I think some of the cats at the Degen Roundtable, they were estimating maybe we'll come up over here to 65. Quote me on that. I don't think we'll rally that hard that fast, but it would not surprise me. They may be right on that shit, and that could end up happening. It could end up happening, but I'm expecting that we'll probably stop around here 52. Because let's go ahead and grab a measuring tool, cats. Let's grab this measuring tool here at our current rate all the way up to 52. You're talking about Bitcoin being up at about 22%. If we go up to 65, we would be up 54%. So I would have to check prior history to see what some of the bigger candles are on Bitcoin, if anything. I mean, we did get a pretty big ass freaking run over here around January 12th, but that was a couple of days. Will that happen? As of right now, I'm being conservative, and I'm saying max amount we'll get to is about 52. 48 wouldn't be a bad area of resistance as well. Let's activate the EMA ribbon, see how this sucker is doing. Now, the EMA ribbon, believe it or not, look at this shit. Look at this shit, monkeys. The EMA ribbon is actually acting as a strong area of support as Bitcoin's trying to go down on the daily. So can we come down? Maybe, yeah, maybe down here to 41,427, but I don't think we'll probably go lower than that. I mean, it's got a lot of protection going to the downside, if anything. Let's put up the other freaking indicators. And on the other indicators, the only thing I get closest is the 50-day moving average, which is below this ascending triangle and in the area where Charlie drew up at about 40,295. I don't think we'll come down that low unless some freaking black swan event occurs. Let's see what it's looking like on the weekly. Let's see if we see any patterns on the weekly. Now, I wanted to show something to you, cats. Where is it at? I don't think I have it here. No, I don't have it here. I have this real cool deck of cards, and these deck of cards, I try to swipe through them on a regular basis, and I try to remember them so I can pick up patterns as to what I see on the charts, if anything. Let me see. Let me go ahead and see this shit. So this could possibly be from here to here. If I draw it up right now, then, I mean, all those other patterns you recently saw will pop up back again. But if I was to draw this up right now from here to here, that could possibly be a wave one. Yeah, that could possibly be a wave one of a 5-wave sequence, if anything. But that is on the weekly, by the way. That is on the weekly. Now, let me pull up one more chart for you cats. Let me pull up one more chart if you guys don't mind. And I'm going to pull up the classic HEX chart for you guys straight up from freaking Uniswap later on, you know what I'm saying? So, we covered the Bitcoin chart, and let's see how motherfrickin' HEX is doing. Let's go over here to classic one, and this is Uniswap Vision. I'm hoping you guys can see this. And this is probably the closest chart you have to original HEX. And let me go ahead and share with you guys, because I want you guys to have this data. I'm gonna put it over here in the freaking in the chat. And this is the most accurate chart. That way you don't have to go into TradingView and fucking pay all that fucking fee if this is the only thing you're on. I'm saying, so you guys can click on it right there and access it. Currently, the value of HEX is at about 50% of a penny, about 52% of a penny, if anything. And it does seem like we're oscillating sideways. The recent low that we did have on HEX was none other than a left translated cycle. And that was on December 7th. And its value was, with the wick, about 42% of a penny, give or take. If I bring it all the way up to where the candle body is at, that would put us at about 45% of a penny. And I mean, for reference, cats, I never really try to buy wicks. They're difficult to get, man, and they happen immediately. So what I usually try to do, I try to buy the candle on the low. It does seem right now, I mean, this is kind of difficult to read. I'm assuming this would be the 20-day mark. Here, this freaking doji candle we got, which was December 27th, which was yesterday. And it may be that we're starting a new cycle, but it just seems like it's oscillating sideways. If I go ahead and grab this trend line over here and I pull this up down this way, I mean, it does seem like it is trending slightly up, if anything, from different areas of support and stuff like that. But then again, if I grab another trend line and I pull it this way, we could be getting a symmetrical triangle, which either entails we break to the upside or the downside. As you cats know, Richard Hart did do a stream as of recent, but he didn't really mention much. He did mention that he expects Pulse Chain and the HEX ecosystem to do good, which, I mean, I'm expecting him to say that for the reason being that he is the founder of this ecosystem and he does want to give us hope. And he's probably not lying about that. He called out Gary Gensler, but he didn't mention anything about his summons to court, which I think is relatively important, if anything. We should know what's going on with that, and I think that would have been great data if he would have given us that. Now, I do notice here that on the 100-day moving average and on the 50-day moving average, we do have resistance here. So that area would be at about 56% of a penny. Would right now be a time to get some HEX? I would say yes. It wouldn't be a bad time to get some HEX. It is a good price. And you guys have heard me be redundant about this shit. Get your freaking T-shares, son. T-shares are going to be the most valuable thing. Of course, for you guys that haven't heard me before, if you guys are going to focus on T-shares, I would get the next 2 years of T-shares mostly on HEX, and all the other T-shares I would get past out 2 years. I would probably get them on PHEX, for the reason being that I'm expecting the Pulse Chain ecosystem, along with all the RH tokens, to have their problems resolved at least by late 2026, if anything. If we take into account what happened with XRP and how long their court case took to get resolved, on average, from the day Richard got served, it would be around early 2026. Of course, I'm hoping that Richard does get a speedy trial. We'll find out on the 30th of January what's going to end up happening with that. From my understanding, that's the next date that he does have for a court date. Hopefully he shows up and we get this sucker knocked out of the ballpark and just get it over with. And if not, that's fine too. I mean, HEX has survived off freaking exchange listings. It just sucks that Uniswap has pretty much put us at a bad light. I don't know if 1inch has. What do you cats know about that? Do you guys know if 1inch has put us in a bad light? And I do know those are some of the main dexes out there, Uniswap, if anything. I do know that we're on CowSwap, but CowSwap is a little bit more marketable than Uniswap, but I think a lot of cats don't know what freaking CowSwap is, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Now, what else am I noticing here on HEX? Let's go ahead and put this on the weekly. I was talking to my homie Twinkie about a while back, about 2 weeks ago, and he's asking me, hey, man, can you check the chart overall on motherfrickin' on HEX to see on which portion of the Elliott wave cycle we're on? Now, when I was reviewing this chart, this had a pretty good opportunity of getting a badass 5-wave Elliott cycle. And it seemed at the time that we were about to go into wave 2. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you grab a line right here, let me do it for you cats. Just remember this pattern that I'm showing you here right now. Usually when you run an Elliott wave, you go from 0 all the way up to 1, then you come break down to 2 before you do the big ass rally, which is a 3. But unfortunately, it seemed like we were about to do that. I think PHEX launched, and then we just freaking giga dipped. And I think around this candle right here was the week that Richard Hart got a subpoena, and then we just continued dipping. And when that happened, it pretty much messed up our Elliott wave cycle, and we're probably gonna have to start it again from the 0 point all the way to the 1 point, if anything. Let me see if I can draw it out for you cats so you guys can see what I mean. And this is the Elliott wave. If I grab this portion from here up to here, I was expecting that we would come down to this spot. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit with a wider width. I was expecting us to come down to here or to here before we rallied up to the freaking the 5th portion of the Elliott wave. So 3 would have been all the way up over here, man, at about $6. You know what I'm saying? And then wave 4 would have probably dipped us down here because we have a shitload of support over here. And then 5 would have probably pushed us a little bit further to the upside, if anything. Of course, that would be later on, possibly in 2028, when we'd go up to fucking wave 5 and we'd be at $23. That would have been off the chain. But of course, we messed up our Elliott wave when all this fucking shit happened right here. When all this shit happened right here, it really dicked up our opportunities of getting a fucking Elliott wave. And let me go and draw that out for you cats so you guys know what I mean. And this shit is gray in color. Well, I'll tell you this much, man. Using freaking the Uniswap Hex.vision site is cool and all, but dude, the tools are a little bit freaking janky, if anything. But that's what I noticed on HEX. Nevertheless, it's still a good project. It does meet the elements of what freaking a crypto community needs in order for it to freaking move forward. We've got a charismatic leader. We've got about 13 whales in the community. We've got a big ass freaking community. We've got drama in the community, which is always a good thing. And then the adoption of the whales, of course, is that makes this freaking makes this crypto pretty damn bullish. And I think we're gonna do just fine. Unfortunately, this had to happen with the SEC, and it may as well get it over with right now. So in the future, we can really enjoy our freaking HEX gains. Now, mind you, none of this is financial advice, cats. None of this is financial advice. And look who we have here. None other than fucking Hex Monkey, bro. Sup, bitches? Fucking monkey, bro. I love this guy, man. This guy is one cool freaking character, man. My homie Hex Monkey, man. Oh, yeah. Freaking Hex Monkey, dude. So, Monkey, I'm showing these cats. I showed them the weapon of the day. I'm sure you can see it in the back. Boom. I got to train you with this, Hex Monkey. I got to train you with one of these, man. And we're going to cover the fragrance of the day as well, man, because we're all about leveling up on this bitch. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to cover one more chart, and then we're going to go ahead and hit up the fragrance of the day. And we are going to cover right now none other than freaking Phantom, son. Now, this is where we're currently at on Phantom. We did break below the 50 cents level, and our current value is at about 49 cents. Now, let's take some measurements on this sucker. If we pull this sucker back right here to this day, this would be 17 days. And the low for this bad boy was at 47.09. So this would possibly be the end of our 20-day cycle here on day 17. So we got to put this arrow over here, and that would be our low. And of course, I'd put a freaking 17 right there. And then our high would be around day 14, if anything. Now, since we just finished our 20-day cycle, I mean, God forbid, if Phantom keeps going down, that means we're probably going to start another rally to the upside. So would now be a good time to DCA lightly into Phantom? Not financial advice. I would say yes, because it does seem that we finished our 20-day cycle on this sucker. And we're officially on day 1, which is December 29th. Of course, this is a UTC candle. Know what I mean? So if we grab this freaking measuring tool from here to here at about day 14, that would put us on January 12th, where we might possibly end up getting another dip. Will we get another dip on January 14th? I don't know. I would say maybe around January 18th, perhaps, is when we get our next dip. Because remember, the Bitcoin ETF approval is at least on January 10th, at minimal. Of course, if it gets approved on the 5th or the 6th, it may end up playing to a 14-day cycle on Phantom. So right now would not be a bad time to DCA into this token. This is probably my favorite project in crypto. I mean, I do love the HEX ecosystem. I do love Pulse Chain. I do love freaking PulseX. But I really like the freaking community, and I like the features that freaking Phantom's got. And I'm digging this whole Phantom Sonic thing. They're probably going to end up deploying on this sucker, man, if anything. Now, for you cats that don't know, if you do have a decent credit score, I think if you got at least a 760, and you go over to Gemini, apply for their credit card, you can go ahead and set your credit card to go ahead and reward you 3% Phantom on all your food purchases. So food for thought, cats. But I'd only advise, I'm not advising this, but I would only do that if I'm really good with freaking my financial responsibility. If I'm really good financially and I pay off my credit card ahead of time, then yes, absolutely, man. Go ahead and do that. That's not a bad option. That's what I'm doing. I pay all my bills with that freaking Gemini credit card, and I get paid 3% back in Phantom. And I take advantage of that sucker. But you do have to have a decent credit score of about 760, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Now, how are we doing as far as the MACD goes on Phantom? Moving average, convergence, divergence, son. Now, as per this, what the MACD is saying is that we're going bearish. So it's opposite of the data I've been giving you, cats, what it says here. But I think the 20-day cycles probably supersedes this. And here it doesn't tell that we may end, well, we just did cross, but we don't know how long that cross is going to be. So we may dip a little bit more. Maybe we'll go into a day 18. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, we're approaching the end of the Phantom 20-day cycle, and that would not be a bad opportunity to start DCAing. Right now is not a bad opportunity to start DCAing into this token, if anything. You know what I'm saying? As far as the 50, the 100, and the 200, the only area that I have as resistance closest to Phantom is at about 37 cents. And above us is 40 cents, which is the support resistance line. Now, what area do we need to compromise in order for Phantoms to start rallying really, really, really hard? And that would be around this area of about 54 cents. Once we compromise that, the next area we do need to beat is none other than 59 cents. And then we have to beat 65 cents. So let me go ahead and draw this out for you cats. And hopefully you guys remember these areas. Again, we're at about 49 cents. Next area to compromise would be at about 54 cents. And then after that, we would need to be at about 59 cents. And then above that, we would need to be about 65 cents before we go after 87 cents. These are the areas or the freaking stairs we have to climb before freaking Phantom continues rallying to the upside, if anything. Know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So, now I know you cats want to know what the fragrance of the day is. And it's none other, and I love this fragrance, especially for you guys in the hotter areas. It is from the House of Creed. Now, I'm sure you cats can see it. It's got like a matte black finish, and it's green Irish tweed. This is actually the original James Bond fragrance, if anything. This shit smells like Irish Spring. For you guys that like that freaking soap scent, Irish Spring, this shit is dope, man. It lasts pretty good long time, too. And one spray or two sprays will last you freaking pretty well into the gym. And you'll emit pretty strong in the gym, especially you start sweating, man. Freaking about, I would say about 2-3 feet. So this shit is some good stuff, man. And don't be scared to overspray this one because this one is pretty fresh. It smells like freaking soap. So any fragrances you cats use in the gym, as long as they smell like shower gel or as long as they smell like soap, these are good to go. Now, I know you're going to ask me, how much does this green Irish tweed cost? Of course, it's not as expensive as Aventus, but the House of Creed has always been pretty damn freaking expensive. It runs on average for about $233 if you guys go over to freaking fragrance.net. You know what I'm saying? So that ain't bad. that ain't bad at all, especially for a Creed fragrance. This is the only Creed fragrance I own. I know Miguel loves his freaking Aventus, but this is probably one of my better ones. I did hear that the new freaking Creed Aventus elixir or something like that is really, really freaking nice, man. So, but that sucker runs for about $545, son. Oh my goodness. I'd rather go buy a Glock, bro. I'd rather go buy a Glock or a freaking 6-hour pistol or buy some extra ammo, or hell, man, buy some more of this token I'm about to show you as well, man. As a matter of fact, mentioning the price point of about $500, we're going to talk about P-Hedron. And Hedron is a token that a lot of cats have been sleeping on, if anything. Now, this is P-Hedron. I haven't pulled up the E-Hedron chart, so I'm assuming it's a little bit lower. I'm not going to set that one up today because then I have to draw all this other shit on there, and I don't want to bore you cats while you guys watch me doing that. I realized that while I was going freaking live on stream, you know what I'm saying? But if we come down here to the other side of Deck Screener and we type in here $500, that will give us almost 4 billion freaking Hedron. I remember when we were listening to Miguel, in one of the crypto mindsets, he said, man, hey, right now is not a bad time to get about $600 worth of Hedron. And I think that got us about 1 billion Hedron. So right now for $500, you get 4 times the amount of Hedron, if anything. And this is the P-Hedron. Now, I know you cats are going to ask me, should I do E-Hedron or P-Hedron? Now, it depends on which token you believe more. If you guys are bigger into the Ethereum side and you think Ethereum freaking products are going to do better than Pulse Chain products, and what I mean by that, I'm talking about the HEX ecosystem, then I would do E side. I would do 60 E-Hedron, and I would do 40% freaking P-Hedron. That's the way I would do it. If you guys are more bullish on Pulse Chain than you are on E-Hex or P-Hex more than you are on E-Hex, I would do 60% of freaking P-Hedron, 40% of E-Hedron. That's the way I would do it. Now, if you cats don't know which way to go, then do 250. If you're doing $500, go 50 down the line for P-Hedron and E-Hedron, and it'll be a little bit better for you cats to go ahead and follow that in the portfolio. But if you want to live a little bit risky, 10% more ain't that much, man. So 60-40 isn't a bad idea. Hedron, as a matter of fact, I called my homie Kennedy. I called my homie Tex-Mex. And I even called my homie Twinkie about this shit. And I showed him this little line we have down here. And this is the 20-day moving average. Hedron did seem that it hit its 20-day moving average low here on December 27th. And it hit a low of about 6 zeros and a 1212. Of course, it does seem like it's going to continue to the downside. But I have a firm belief that we are going to maintain this area of about 6 zeros and a 1202. So right now would not be a bad time to get some Hedron. I am getting paid freaking tomorrow, and I'm probably going to drop it's going to be a little bit more than $500 into the Hedron token. I am bullish on this token. Let's not forget what it did. I was talking to some of my homies. They're like, is Hedron even relevant anymore? I do believe it's relevant because it does provide utility for HEX. And you can move your stakes with Hedron, if anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think Hedron's going to do freaking fabulous. And if we grab this tool and we pull this to the upside, we do have support at the bottom. But let's see if we have a symmetrical triangle. And I mean, I'm not seeing much to build. Well, you might be able to build a symmetrical triangle. It's kind of weak, if anything. Let me go ahead and. No, I'm not seeing a symmetrical triangle on this shit. So it does seem like it's coming to the upside. Now, an area that we do have to compromise is none other than this little blue line right here, which is a 50-day moving average. And that current value is at about, it says 0.61400. So it's about 6 zeros and 1400. That is the area we do have to compromise on that sucker. Now, the highest point P-Hedron's been at is none other than freaking 6 zeros and a 9330. So if you cats got a little bit money left over, man, and you don't know where to put it on, this is a good token to do it on. P-Hedron and E-Hedron, son. Let's check out the chat. Let's see what the chat is saying. And my homie Twinkie, hell yeah. I'm sure you're talking about freaking spending that $545 instead of that Creed Aventus into some freaking crypto. You better believe it, son. Then, yep. and then buy all the Glocks and the colognes. Damn straight, son. Damn straight. So instead of buying that new Creed Aventus, put that motherfucker in Hedron, son. Put that sucker in Hedron, and then once freaking Hedron freaking rallies, you can get yourself the most Gucci Glock out there, and you can get you the best freaking Creed fragrances out there. Even the old formulations that are about $1,000 a piece, if anything. You know what I'm saying? So food for thought, cats. Food for thought. Now, since we did cover Hedron, let's go over and let's hit up some freaking let's do some ton. I want to do some ton. Now we also got my homie over here, Smooth Brain. What's up, dog? I gotta say what's up to you, man. Who else we got here? Moon Pill Rational Optics. You know, Moon Pill, I'm gonna go ahead and hit up Polka Dot for you, man. Since you're here, I want you to get value from this content we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So Scott Connor, yeah, homie, purchase some dot in the Illuvium today. That's what I'm talking about, son. That's what I'm talking about. I hope you cats got into the Fight Club with the Citadel. If you guys haven't joined the Citadel, please do so. I think it's a great freaking area to grab knowledge. I've been in crypto since 2021, man, and I gotta admit this shit. I definitely gotta admit this shit, man, that sometimes you go over to freaking Spooky Swap's freaking Telegram, or you go over to DeFi Kingdom's freaking Telegram and all that other Mickey Mouse shit, bro. But hands down, being in the Citadel, I'm glad that I can talk to the individuals there, and I know I'm not gonna get scammed by a freaking scammer or a bot or a hacker or some shit like you will in the other telegrams. It's not as the wild, wild west as those other telegrams are. And the cats there are pretty freaking eager to help each other out. And I do like Miguel's freaking rules on there and Charlie's rule. Don't be a cunt. Don't be a cunt, if anything. You know what I'm saying? So let's go hit up some freaking ton token, homie. Tex-Mex, if you're listening to me, yesterday you and I were talking. Do me a favor, man. Drop the name of that shit coin that I think Beetroots is talking about so I can see if I can find it. Maybe I can check it out. You know what I'm saying? So here is the ton token. Current value is at $2.21. If you guys see this candle over here, I bought exactly at $2.20. And it does seem like it's oscillating sideways, if anything. If I pull back this freaking tool here, which is approximately 20 days, which we haven't gotten to, and we pull it over here to the recent down we had, which was about $2.10, it does seem at the time being we finished our cycle. It does seem, of course, it can go lower because we have not completed up to 23 days or 20 days. Would right now be a time to get freaking ton token? I would say it's good to go. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. Now, I do have ERC 20 ton, and I don't have the native ton for the reason being that I want to be capable of dumping it into USDC as need be, and then freaking making my profits and gains there. Now, the ton that I did buy, I went ahead and I sold an Ethereum for that. I had one whole Ethereum and I dumped it into ton because I do know that ton's going to do really, really well, especially as we approach this upcoming election next year. You know, there's going to be a lot of misinformation. There's going to be a lot of hate between media corporations. The traditional media is going to freaking lie a lot. And I'm talking about Fox News too, cats. And I'm talking about CNN and MSNBC. There's going to be a lot of lying going on. A lot of people are going to be going over to freaking Twitter, which is X, which, I mean, I should head up Dogecoin later on. And none other than Telegram, man. Of course, Ton is associated somewhat to Telegram, and I think they're called the Open Network. Now, if we look at Ton, the areas that we do need to compromise in order to get really bullish on this token is at least this area of about $2.57. Now, what would be really bullish is if we compromise this 277. Does it seem we can get up there? I'm noticing that we possibly can if I grab this freaking trend line and I push it to the upside under these three freaking wicks over here. It does seem like it is rallying to the up. Well, I don't want to use the word rally, but if I pull this all the way up, you kind of get a little bit of an ascending triangle. And I'm hoping that we compromise this area of $2.54. Let's see how it's doing on the MACD. On the moving average, convergence, divergence, we are slightly bullish. Let me go and kill this histogram so you cats can see what I'm looking at. For you guys looking at me on the phone and shit, I know you can't see the little lines and stuff like that. And if I pull this up, you can see that the blue line has recently crossed over past the red line, and that was on December 21st when it did that. So it does seem like we are a little bit bullish. Hopefully it keeps going that way. I might end up DCing a little bit more into ton, especially if we come down here to about $1.92. I'll probably buy a little bit more, or over here $2. I'll possibly buy a little bit more on ton token. Now, I'm not seeing much patterns. Of course, I am seeing this ascending triangle, but we're not getting contacts on both sides. So I'm not going to say that it's a full-blown freaking ascending triangle, if anything. Let's see the sucker on the weekly. Let's go to 4 hour. Let's see how it's doing with its EMA ribbon. And ton token on the 4 hour chart does have the EMA ribbon as support. But note, it does have this area, which is the 200 exponential moving average, as resistance, and that is at $2.24. So that's another area we do have to compromise. Now, one thing that I do want to note for you cats, whenever you get this EMA ribbon and you have the yellow part on the top, what usually tends to happen? You get these giant ass freaking candles on the top side that go over to the upside. Whenever this EMA ribbon goes in reverse and you see the red on the top, we do go bearish. Now, this is the 4 hour chart. We're going to check this sucker on the daily, see how it's doing. And on the 4 hour chart, we do have red on the top side. So that means it'll probably come back down into the EMA ribbon. Let's see what it looks like on the daily. And on the daily, what are we seeing? What do you cats see? We're about to hit freaking resistance. We're using it as resistance, and the red is at the top. So that may entail we probably may come to the downside of anything. I mean, that's more buying opportunity for me. Again, as stated, being redundant, I do want to buy here at about $2, and I do intend to get a little bit more ton on later on in the future, cats, even though my ass is burnt out from buying since 2021. Did you know I've been buying that freaking long? Know what I'm saying? Now, Crypto Gallo, can we chart SNX? I'll try to find it, man. Is SNX an ERC20? So if you get a chance, freaking drop that in the chat, Gallo. Let's see. Aquí vamos con. Give me a second, TexMex. Let me see if I can get Doge 1, bro. Let me see if I can get that one, bro. Let me go over here to Dex Screener. Vamos a ver, Doge 1. Se me hace que este es 8E69. No, it's not the same one, homie. It's not the same one. Bear with me, cats. Bear with me. Bear with me. Go over to my YouTube. And let me see if I can copy and paste this sucker. Vamos a ver, vamos a ver, vamos a ver. It's weird. It's not popping up here, man. Fuck. How the hell can I copy that shit? No quiere salir. Vamos a ver. Pull this over to the... it doesn't want to text Mex. I got bad news, man. I can't freaking copy and paste this sucker, man. Let me see how I can paste this sucker. Vamos a ver. Let me try to find it, man, on Dex Screener for you cats. And if I don't get to your token, TextMax, I'll probably do it later on, bro. Porque I'll probably do it later on for the reason being that I won't possibly be capable of getting it right now. Chinga madre. TextMax, I can't copy and paste it, homie. But I'll get it prepped for you next time. I apologize about that. Now, Gallo, you had mentioned that you wanted me to cover synthetics. We'll do that. Let's hit up the incentive token. Let's see how incentive token is doing. Here we are currently on incentive token. Now, I was telling the guys at the DGen roundtable and that incentive token was not at a bad place to buy. Its current value is at about 59 cents. Now, if we end up coming to the downside over here again at about 39 cents, which this is on a wick. If we come down here, that would mean we would get a double bottom. Then we would end up rallying to the upside. So it would look a little bit like this if we do come up, and it would look like a little bit like a W. Usually when you get a double bottom, you end up doing the difference between a double top, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Tex-Mex. Tex-Mex, you were one innovative cat, homie. You're one innovative cat. So I will absolutely be able to get this freaking address for you. Vamos a ver. So that could end up happening. The area that we do need to compromise on incentive token is that here at about 72 cents. That is the area where we need to be bullish. I did put in a little bit of money. Mind you, if you put in like about, I think, $125, you will become a squid on incentive token, by the way. Now, mind you, this is a scratcher bet. I do believe, according to Hart's law, if pulse chain rallies, which it will, then all the other immediate coins in the ecosystem will rally, including incentive. It will bump up to the upside. Now, what would be really bullish is if on an incentive token, Richard uses that as a sacrifice tool for his new MetaMask wallet. But we don't know if he's going to do that this run, especially the shit that he's dealing with the SEC, if anything. Know what I mean? Vamos a ver. Can you guys see the chart? Type 1 if you guys can see the chart. Give me 1 second, cats, if you don't mind. Give me un segundo, por favor. It's going to let the dog out real fast. Okay, and I am back. Now, let's type in this address in here, and let's look at motherfrickin' the token you was talking about here, Tex-Mex. You're one innovative cat. Oh, it is on, wow, it's on Ethereum. I was expecting this sucker to be on Pulse Chain, man. Now, if we look at Doge 1, this is none other than the Doge 1 token. Let me share this with you guys. This is the Doge 1 token that B-Roots is talking about. Now, it has been out. Let's put a log on this sucker. Oh, wow, man. It's not been doing bad, if anything. Not been doing bad. It does seem like we do have 3 ascending valleys. This is not an Elliott wave. If anything, usually Elliott waves run like this. They come down, and then you get a big-ass pump, and then you come down, and you get a big-ass pump. So this would not be an Elliott wave. This would be something more of what you call 3 ascending valleys. For you cats that don't know that, that is a bullish trend. And you would basically come to the upside, come back down, come to the upside, come back down, and come back up to the upside. Now, the ascending valley breaking point, usually when you're advised to buy in, is around this area here. So it does seem like we're going to continue to the upside, especially if things get bullish on this token. We do have this area of support, if anything. Let's draw this sucker up. Now, let's go ahead and use the measuring tool, see where we're at, pull this back. It does seem like we are on day 11. So when the next time we'll possibly get a dip is here on January 1st or January 2nd. And that area, I'm estimating it'll probably be at 50% of its value. Right now, it's at 1 penny of its value. So this does not seem like a bad token to go ahead and freaking flip on, if anything. But shit gets overheated, man. Dude, DCA out of this token. So I will keep this on my watch list, and I will watch this shit coin closely. In my opinion, as I'm looking on this token, I think that it's a little bit late to buy on it. But if we do dip pretty hard on this sucker, we do have this area of support over here. And I would draw it right up over here, if anything. And that would be at 30% of a penny if we come down there. That's where I would likely buy in if I wanted to flip this token for some Pulse Chain or a little bit of Ethereum, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, this is a shit coin, guys. Shit coins don't really freaking, you should not have them as the main portion of your portfolio. Maybe a 2%, 1% allocation of your total portfolio, not financial advice. So you can have a little bit of fun. You know what I'm saying? So that covers that one. Let's go hit up synthetics. Let's see if I can find SNX on this sucker. Vamos a ver. Crypto synthetics USDT on Binance. I'm assuming this is probably be the senior one. Okay. All right, let me share this with you cats. Let's go over here to synthetics via USDT. I'm hoping this is the correct one, homie. Now, it does seem like we are, let's see, let's grab this measuring tool on synthetics. We are at about day 11 on synthetics. What does that entail? That means that we'll possibly get another low on it around day 14, which would be around January 15th, all the way to about maybe, oh, I'm sorry, cats. This is on the weekly. I apologize. About that shit. There's no 20-day cycles on the fucking weekly chart. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. Let's grab this freaking measuring tool one more time from our current value over here. And we pull this sucker back. That would be 11 bars. That would be 33 bars. I would say that this is when we started our new cycle. So we are at about day 11. The next area where we'll probably start a dip would possibly be around January 1st, all the way to about maybe January 8th. Maybe it extends a little bit longer and we'll go into January 10th. But I would say January 1st to January 8th is when we'll likely get a dip on synthetics, if anything. It does seem bullish. This does seem, could this be an Elliott wave? Let me see. It's vaguely, you could vaguely see an Elliott wave on this sucker. Let me go grab my tool here. Pull this sucker up all the way to here, down here, all the way up over here. And then we came to the downside. We rallied kind of hard. So we might have a minor Elliott wave there, if anything. So usually when you finish up an Elliott wave, then you're going to start the ABC process. So that would bring us down here. We would come back up, and it does seem like we're possibly going to come back down to this area here of about $3.03, or possibly down here to $2.86. So that would possibly be an area where I would buy. I mean, I do see this Elliott wave here. I would need to do a little bit more analysis to see where would be the next area we need to compromise. Of course, the high was over here at about $4.81. And if we bring this sucker back, let me see. Let me put this on the weekly. Maybe it'll be easier for me to find. Here, so the area we do need to compromise next would be none other than this area over here, which would be at $8. First, we would need to compromise about $6 and then $7.26. And then we would need to beat this area of about $8.18. So whoever asked for this token, man, remember that Elliott wave of the areas where you can get this sucker at. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's move on over to freaking Pulse Chain. Let's see how freaking Pulse Chain is doing. And that was for you, Crypto Gallo. So make sure you save this video. Oh, by the way, cats, like this video. I see 13 of you guys here. I want to see 13 likes. Share this video, and let me get you monkeys my link tree. Follow me on Instagram. I do put up little freaking weapon reviews there. And follow me on Twitter as well. Here is my link tree. Give me a follow. It's in the chat, so you cats know. So let's hit up freaking Pulse Chain. Vamos a ver cómo vamos con Pulse Chain. Let's see how Pulse Chain is doing on this sucker. Now, Pulse Chain, its current value is at about 4 zeros and a 6.3. It does seem like it wants to come down here to the downside of about 4 zeros and a 6.1. Right now would possibly not be a bad time to DCA on Pulse Chain, if anything, if you cats don't have enough Pulse Chain. And on the cycle that we're on, we are currently at day 17. Now, it could be that over here on this red candle, which was December 26th, we hit our low, at about day 14. But the trend that I'm noticing slightly, it does seem like we do want to continue the downside. And the next area of support is none other than here at about 4 zeros and a 6-1. Again, right now we're at 4 zeros and a 6-3. I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but that's some of the areas where you get some of your pulse chain. Now, the area that we do need to beat next would be none other than this area here of about 4 zeros and a 6-1. And then we would need to compromise 4 zeros and a 7-0. This is the box that I want to get back into. And that would be at 4 zeros and an 8-6. Now, if I turn these suckers off, I'm actually turning them on. But if I turn these suckers off, you could see that the reason I put this sucker here is because if you go to the weekly on this, fucking looks convoluted as fuck. Let's go back to the daily. You do notice that this was our natural trend in this area. So if we do get back to this green box, all we have to do is fight a little bit more, and we'll be in the exact area where we were supposed to be trending till we got this big ass giant freaking 2 red candles to the downside with the SEC Richard got, the letter that SEC Richard got. You know what I'm saying? So for you cats that haven't acquired enough pulse chain right now is not a bad time to get. It does seem like we're about to start a new 20-day cycle if we haven't started one already. So as stated, right now is not a bad time to get some freaking pulse chain for you cats. Know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So, with that stated, my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I got you as much data as I could on some of the tokens that you guys were interested in. I will be doing another stream with none other than Agent J from the DGen Roundtable, and that will be this Saturday. I have been in talks with DCC. We will also have a stream together soon, hopefully early next year. And that should be off the chain, man. Talk about all different types of TRT and trend and all that other shit, man. I know that fool's freaking in love with that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll bring up my freaking talks on none other than fragrance and guns, if anything. Well, you cats, enjoy yourselves, and I will see you on Saturday. So make sure you guys come back here on Saturday, and I will catch you on the flip side.